All right, so hello everybody. Welcome to the SparkCast episode 51. That's the 51st.
That's
And
right. Big 5-1.
I don't look a day over 40. Uh, and joining us today is Thomas from, oops, I'm going to have my echo in. I caught it in time. I had the sound on the browser, but
Oh, gotcha.
veteran move, I caught it before the echo caught in. Anyway, so Thomas, how long have you been with Team Dakota now?
We are at just over 3 months. I think my first day was March 9th, is the date that's in my head for some reason. So just over 3 months now, which, believe it or not, feels like it's been longer and shorter at the same time. Like, when I think about my old job, it feels like it was like really soon, that I left that. But I feel like I've been like on Team Dakota now like a while, and like I don't know, it's just weird. But yeah, so only just
So
over
you've
three
done a
months.
lot in a short amount of time.
Well, I'm glad you think that. That's good.
Well, I'm thinking you think that. That's what I think.
Gotcha.
So, there's been a small change to the community competitions, and when does that go into effect, and what is it?
So, the more so what you're alluding to is in the most recent State of Spark that was posted by Brian, we talked about kind of being more organized with the challenges, the community challenges, and making them so the prizes could be kind of larger, but there would be kind of less frequent ones, and that would mainly encourage a lot of participation in each of those, and also make it more enticing and kind of we kind of noticed that there was confusion, like when there would be like five different ones going on at the same time. And we're just trying to figure out like the best way that, all the challenges are, getting participated in and seem exciting and they're not competing with each other. I mean, I guess that's the main thing. We don't want like, somebody to be like, this challenge is cooler than that challenge and,
Then someone
kind
feel left
of,
out or feel like their
yeah,
challenge didn't
yeah.
get up? Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. I mean, so the truth is like on that post, I mean, it wasn't finalized yet, and going forward, I wouldn't say we have like a final decision yet, when we want to institute it. But what we were looking at is having basically one competition at a time that would get these prizes, and then that would go for like a 3-week period, and there wouldn't be overlap with like other, challenges between them. I mean, it gets complicated because we want people to be able to make challenges whenever, when they would be like unofficial. But we really like sponsoring prizes, but we also want to encourage like non-overlapping competitions and have it kind of police itself. But it's hard to do that, right?
Right. I
Uh,
was worrying like I was thinking about like having a competition for using only Codian Artifact A and Codian Artifact B in a sort of creation jam sort of thing.
yeah.
But I didn't know which competitions were going on at the moment, or if I could even get a time in the future, or if there was a waiting list, or how that stuff would work.
Yeah, I mean, so there wasn't anything like that. I mean, you could just kind of pick whatever time before, and we, kind of realized that that wasn't probably the best method or solution. But I mean, in the end, like you can still really make any challenge that you want to. That's like for sure. I should put that out there. There's nothing stopping you for anybody from going on the forum and like doing a challenge, or in a community competition. Like I like the leaderboard one was like super awesome, right, for Spark Mania. Uh, and that was like totally like led and done. And I think we did come in and say like, oh, credits to the top score and all that. Um, and that probably there's a chance, that those could probably still continue on because in the end we still want it to be a really organic thing. We don't want to have to like put our stamp of approval like on everything. But if we want to do like bigger prizes and have like non-overlap with some of the bigger challenges, um, we're just thinking about ways to make that more structured. So if you're listening to me talk right now, and you're like yay or no or what have you, definitely recommend go to the most recent State of Spark. It's still stickied on top of general discussion, and leave a comment about all the things that are in there that we kind of talked about, like the new format. um, Another place, just for people who, at least up until now, the best way to get information on challenges was going to the community challenge hub, which was a post that Ian Withers put up, and I believe that's still stickied in I believe that's in the
Collaboration
collaboration
corner.
corner. Yeah. There's also, so this is another thing I can address and kind of talk toward. There's been comments for sure about like, why don't we start our own forum for community challenges? We really don't want to get to that point, right, where there's so many community challenges or like that it feels like there needs to be another forum.
That makes
And
sense.
also, yeah, and then like collaboration corner was like the least, at least at the time, it was kind of the least utilized one and kind of looked like it would be a good place for it, and that's why we directed all the community challenges into that forum, and it actually I think makes sense. um, I know it's not necessarily collaborative in like building aspect. I mean, it really just depends, but it is definitely a very community focused, thing going on. But that's why that currently is in that forum and why we haven't like created another forum based on community challenges.
So, random lore question. Is there an afterlife in Spark? And is this information fleshed out anywhere that someone could just dive into all the lore of Project Spark?
It's actually a really funny question. So before I answer it, one disclaimer I do want to make: my chat is not loading. So anybody who has questions and stuff, I haven't been able to see them. I'm gonna try to refresh it because I do really like to make sure I'm watching chat as well and making sure I see everything. But right now I haven't been able to look.
But the correct
Um,
answer is that everybody turns into zombies, right?
oh, for the lore question, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, that is not as easy as that. So Sparks. I should answer this. So this is really funny.
In the
So
5 second
today,
version, please.
yeah, so today I actually was introduced to something that we have internal here. It's like a document. It definitely can't be shared. But it's like this. It's called like the Spark Lore Bible, and it has like pretty much everything you would want to know about certain things. Like it's not as in depth as people would probably might imagine, but there's actually lore there, and I mean it's decently long. It's not short. And
It's
I was
longer than
reading
anyone would
the,
want to read.
huh?
It's longer than anyone would want to read.
Well, it depends on what you're interested in. I know, like, I don't think, for yourself, Moose, that you're like the biggest Spark Lore fan, but we have those people out there.
I'm not sure the people.
No, I don't think anybody who'd be as excited as, I mean, it's just different. Like, so lore and Spark is unique in the fact that we don't like immediately drop you into like, I mean, I guess we have Champion's Quest, but right, like our experiences are very much focused on you doing what you want to do.
Yeah,
But we
like
do have
Spark
a,
lore doesn't matter. It gets in the way of anything else.
well, and that's like, so this is like an interesting question. So I can bring this up. So we were this is a question we were talking with the CAG actually, so the Community Advisory Group. And back when Spark was kind of thinking about characters and how they were going about that, they thought about actually like having them be named in like, it's like in your gallery, right? Like for the Astrotech, for example, instead of being, Astrotech male, he would actually like have a name, like be or our content designer was like we could have called him Raygun or something, but so that would have like injected a personality though on these people, so it would have made like fan fiction easier and more people to kind of jump in, but it would have also kind of in limited like imagination, right, which is why the ultimate decision was not to do that, and like we wanted to keep uh you know, people allowed, to think outside the box and be like, this Astrotech can be anything he wants it to be. He doesn't have to be named Raygun or whatever.
I don't think it matters
Granted,
one way or the other.
yeah, it kind of doesn't. I mean, it just depends. But like that lore and that question of like lore and how important it is to Spark is kind of always been kind of back and forth.
It
But
sounds
yes,
like way too much thought and effort has gone into this already.
Not really, and I mean, I actually think it's like totally legitimate. Like, I think there's like there's definitely the core group, right? Like and you're part of this, Moose, where like it's all about the tool set and uh, and the actual creation engine, right? Like, you wouldn't expect Unity to have like characters or what have you, right? But like when obviously we have Champions Quest, and that's a thing in Spark, and
Unfortunately.
Crossroads and all these
Unfortunately.
things. These play experiences, or so there was lore that was built around to support that and like this
Unfortunately.
universe that happened. Yeah. So Not everybody likes that, obviously, but there are fans and people who like know Spark for that. Like I've talked to plenty of people who like play through Champion's Quest, want to hear more about like episode 2 and all that kind of stuff. But all this lore was created, to have build that story and build off of it. Like if we didn't have that, it'd be kind of a disaster. Like you wouldn't be able to build a story without having a universe to get set in. That's why you have to have those things.
I don't know about that because a lot of the UGC has no story. It's just here's this necromancer and he's walking across the room killing all these things that you guys have made for him. And the Crossroads story is basically go there, do this. It's a choose your own adventure type thing. So the story isn't integral to actually doing something.
Yeah, I mean it's actually really interesting because we were talking with me and Brian were both talking with Jed and BJ earlier in the week, and they're kind of the keepers, obviously, and then like Henry too, with the lore and stuff, and like even Crossroad experiences, when they're designed, they're like thought of like in with lore. So like for instance, like the first Contact pack, right? One of the Crossroad experiences that comes with that is like the experience where they find like the Codite and a Codian shows up and like steals it away from the Astrotech and like disappears. So and it's not violent, it just kind of steals it and you don't know if like they're really good or bad and it's like kind of questioning. But like that was like a huge actual like important like thing that they wanted to convey like in this idea of first contact because it's like when humans meet this Codian race for the first time and don't really understand it.
Well,
But it's so like that crossword experiences actually do have a part, believe it or not, like in the way that it gets thought about. Like, I mean, it's just interesting. Like, obviously, like, I mean, I'll be the first to like say like the lore and Spark and all of that, like that's not, um, you
important.
know, like no, it's not. I would say
You're
it's
right,
just
it's not
not.
important.
It's not priority one. Like our priority one is focusing on like creators and the tool set and content, and all those things, and making sure you guys have what you want to build things with. Like I, I think that's number one for sure. But like all those play experiences and stuff, like there's like that lore that backs it up.
Yeah, I kept trying to look on the bright side of everything that came along from like Champion's Quest or Conquer, but it's still pretty hard to say. You guys spent so much time on that, and I got tail physics, or I got level linking that you guys were going to do anyway.
Oh, you guys got so much. Or I mean, like I think Conquer is sweet. Like there's no way you can only say tail physics is the only cool thing out of Conquer. Conquer himself is the cool thing out of Conquer, and like everything else, like that pack is just awesome.
Sure.
In that biome, like oh, I love that biome
Well, the
actually.
biome's nice because it's an alternate version of the uh, woodlands.
Hmm.
So, speaking of lore, the Void is coming up next, the Void Corruptor.
That is right. Hmm.
So I presume tomorrow you guys are going to be showing off more of the content from that pack.
I'm glad you brought this up, and I actually don't think I warned you prior to the stream on this. So we're actually tomorrow we're not gonna have a content stream. Wah wah wah. So we have this whole plan, and we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be really cool. But we need another week to make sure we're ready for it. Because we're doing something different, and it's gonna be really cool. I think some people are gonna be really excited for it. I think others will be definitely interested, and they might think it's dumb, but hopefully we deliver on what we want to do. I'm not gonna go into detail what it is yet, but
Is it tomorrow or a week? Because you said you
it's a
have to wait a
week.
week for it.
So we were gonna try to shoot for this Thursday, and that's what we talked about. I think last Thursday we teased it actually.
So
But
what's going to be tomorrow then? Is there no stream tomorrow?
there's yeah, so that's what unfortunately we're gonna not do a stream tomorrow.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know if it's been on Twitter yet or not. But we're gonna take this Thursday off. I know it's really unfortunate. We have all this stuff when we were getting planned. We just ran out of time. We didn't have enough to basically we're landing this plane and we kind of ran out of runway and we kind of need to just extend it. Um, but you'll see once you kind of see what we're doing, you'll see why it's definitely bigger, higher production value, and kind of
Everyone
more
in chat thinks it's a game
focused.
show.
Hmm?
Everyone in chat thinks it's a game show.
It's not a game show.
That'd be amazing, though.
Why am I getting fired, Miss Gad?
I thought you couldn't read chat, so I was reading it to you.
It is now back for me.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so yeah, why am I fired? I know we're not doing a stream. I'm sorry. I apologize, and we probably should have given you more of a heads up. But
Maybe a little.
yeah. I mean that decision was made today that we weren't going to do a stream tomorrow.
Well, speaking of special stuff, are there gonna be more promotions this summer, like special weekend promotions, that sort of thing?
We're definitely looking into that. So when we said, Summer of Spark, we don't want it to end, just with that double XP weekend. And in the deal with Conquer, I mean that was obviously really special for kind of the 2-year anniversary of getting announced at E3, and we wanted to do something fun to celebrate that. But we are looking at and thinking about promotions for the summer for sure.
Will there
I
be promotions that like benefit those who have most of the content, like myself? Because
Yeah,
double XP was nice, but not for
that was
me.
feedback that we got from the last, this like the double XP weekend. Um, so certain things like that we do, right? It benefits new users a lot, and then but not so much people who already have things. And we're trying to figure out like we want to make both people happy. We obviously want like new users to get stuff, and we also want people who have a lot of things to still really enjoy like the promotion that we're doing. So we're looking at that. And we're figuring out like what's still valuable to a person who owns every single content pack, because obviously, I mean, you guys that's the people who own all everything and have been around, and I mean that's a super loyal group, and we love you guys. You guys are like make up the core of Spark, right? And make some of the best creations and are just a huge part of the community. And we don't want you guys to be like left out of promotions that we do too, and be like, I don't really need credits or XP, or so like we don't want you to feel like that. You guys are awesome, and we want to reward that. Or when we do something, we want also to be able to to touch on that too and make it exciting for you guys. So we're looking at that too. We just want to do it right. But yeah, so definitely I don't think we're done with the summer yet. We have some other stuff that we're thinking about and working through. Some
Sure.
really exciting stuff. I'm pretty stoked actually.
Stoked about promotions, or
Yeah. This is all in regards to promotions is what I'm
so you
talking
already have them planned out as far as what you're gonna give out?
I mean, some things, yeah. Some of them are more like idea stage, on what we can and can't do. But I mean, we're working through it. Like nothing's finalized yet. But
So do
yeah,
you have an idea of what you would do for promoter for core users, or should we start throwing these suggestions at you?
if anybody has suggestions, I'm totally good to hear. We're flexible. We're not like locked in yet. But I can't. I'm not like for the stuff that we have planned or know we're gonna do. Like, of course, I'm gonna wait till like we announce stuff.
Oh, come on, you can announce it all right now. All even the vague ideas, I'm
No,
sure that would go
mainly
over
because
great.
nothing like is like got stamps of approval on everything yet. So
Oh,
no,
here's the
not
moose
there
stamp.
yet. No
All right.
announcements. But know that like yeah, we definitely want this summer to be exciting. Summer of Spark. Um,
Well, people were really excited about the upload slots. So with the giveaways last week, so if you could figure out a way to give out
oh yeah,
upload
for what
slots
we did for
to
the 50th anniversary of the Sparkcast, or 50th episode of the Sparkcast.
the
Yeah, no,
50th
it's
anniversary.
yeah. And 1 year anniversary, yeah.
Yeah,
No, upload slots are cool. Yeah, we've kind of seen now that like upload slots are something that's they are pretty valuable. Especially with creators who are doing a lot of things, and they have especially we have some creators who are just like crazy and like have like so many worlds that are all have good tons amount of downloads, and they don't want to take them off the feeds. And we really don't want those to be taken off the feeds because obviously they're really cool and they're like really high quality. That's like a tough choice if you want to like upload a bunch more worlds. I know the creation jam didn't help because we said like go make as many as you want. So people were uploading like 6 or 7 and using tons of upload slots for that. So upload slots seem to be like a really prized possession
so what if
out
you
there.
guys were to like use the marketplace and based on Spark level, like give out free ones for a weekend for based on which spark level you were. So if you're spark level 50, you get 10 of them. If you're spark level 20, you get 4 of them. That sort of thing.
Yeah, so you're saying like based on like where you're at this point in time, like here, I mean, I don't even think that would end up being probably anything like the player would have to do. It'd probably be like a manual like injection into the account. So like, at this exact timestamp that we select, like everybody who's 50 gets 10, everybody gets 50, whatever. Like that's probably be more like how it would happen. Marketplace offers, I don't believe we can like show them independently. Like we can't show only level 50 people.
Well, it would be kind of like
Marketplace offer.
2 every 10 levels, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you obviously, right, like we have those offers that can be blocked from purchasing if you're not high enough
Right.
level. So that is technically there, and in game and already, functioning. But yeah, I mean that's a good idea. But yeah, so we're working through that. Let me see if anybody had a question. Waiting soon for people getting to 50. We actually can't, so Mescad, we can't set something to 0 credit value.
Like 1 was the minimum. That's why you did it for Conquer.
Exactly, yeah. If we would have just been able to give Conquer away, that probably would have been the option. But I mean, I mean, for us, right? Like, it's not terrible to like just make something 1 credit and then just people go to the marketplace and like pick it up and right, obviously like from our side it gets people in the marketplace and they get to see other stuff that's in there. Um, so
Guild Wheel the same was your credits.
from a retail like perspective, I'm no, I don't have an MBA or anything, but right, like a store when they have like their big sign outside that says 80% off shoes. The whole point is to get you in the store, and then while you buy shoes, you also say, "Oh, these jeans are really cute," and pick up jeans.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
These jeans are so cute.
No. But
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
I was going to tie this into the next question. So it's a kind of a two-parter. Windows 10 is coming next month. So is Project Spark going to be ready for it? And two, like, is there going to be some kind of promotion to bring in new users, considering like it's going to be more people that have access to Spark?
Yeah, so these are both really good questions. So like I can actually say since we're getting really close now, so yes, Project Spark is going to be on Windows 10. You're not going to have to do
Yes.
anything different. You should just be able to update to when you update to Windows 10, Project Spark, if you already had it, you'll still have it. Um, One key point is like the Spark that you're gonna have on Windows 10 is the same like what Spark that you have like right now. It's that 8 point technically Spark on Windows 8.1 or whatever, but it's gonna be on Windows 10. You can actually build like a separate application, for Windows 10. And that's not something that we are going to have ready at launch, like a separate like Windows 10 Project Spark. That's something that we're looking at too, and we don't have any like announcements to talk about like a Windows 10 version of Spark that takes advantage more of like Windows 10 features. I know I'm sure a lot of people are like looking forward to that and like certain PC features and stuff. But nothing to like announce there yet. But like know that yes, you on Windows 10 you'll be able to play Project Spark. That'll be you'll be able to carry that forward. And then yes, we're looking into like a Windows 10 app. I know there's questions about it because it's like not really like it's particularly like around the store because I don't think Windows 10 store has really been shown off or like explained, like how it exactly works and stuff. And we don't even on our team we don't have all the answers in regards to that either. But
So there's a question. Is it going to be possible for users to do the tour if they're above level 5? And the answer is, of course, yes, but do you know when?
I don't know when. I know that's like something that we still are saying we want to do, and we still do want to do it. It's not we're not just saying that. It's we do want to do that. Um, I especially think it's like really important. Like this is a use case that you probably want to think about, or most of the community. But like a tour, right, is obviously very good, like education and getting people oriented to Spark. So like let's say I'm an educator in a classroom, or somebody at like who has 1 account. like that's a more like a kiosk kind of thing where people come and go, and you want to reset like that tour so you can have people like come in and check out and like learn Project Spark in 45 minutes. Obviously having that option to reset the tour and start it would be super important in those cases for like educators and things like that. Um, I mean, so yeah, I think having that would be really important for that situation too. I'm looking at more like this is kind of a I've been dabbling around with like a lot of the education stuff, but I'm gonna be like jumping into it like head first here really soon. I'm gonna start concentrating a lot on like getting Spark in education and start really pushing that. Um, Now that I've kind of oriented myself more with I've been here what have I said now, like 3 months or so. So I
Right.
have a good understanding of like the people here, the process. That was all things that were new to me when I got here. And I've done some education things and talked to students and like I've done presentations now and I have a really good feel for it, kind of what the needs are. So I'm gonna start being able to kind of shift that more into higher gear and start, trucking that along. But really excited to start doing that too.
Well,
Kind of be kind of a new push.
speaking of new pushes and changes, people have been, in the .org community have been asking, what plans are there to change to feeds, ratings, and UGC feedback in general? Is there anything that's cemented or at least general guidelines that we can look forward to?
Yeah, we're still yeah, so I know like one of those, this is something that was like before I came onto the team. Like right before I came onto the team, I remember like the Team Dakota guys, asking about feeds in particular, right, and what improvements need to happen, and they kind of had this list and we're gathering feedback and things. Um that stuff was like put on hold for leaderboards when we were because these are like so leaderboards and like feeds and stuff, those are like service related.
So the same
um
people working on them can't do
yeah,
two
so
things
it's
at
like
once.
it's
Gotcha.
a particular set of people who are working on it. um and then of course we have like other, there's always other things, and I don't, and I don't know if you've noticed, but like, unfortunately like this week and like last week we've had some downtime, which has been it's been a really long time since we've had downtime.
And then out of nowhere,
We were
boom.
running really smooth for a good while, but some stuff got messed up, and it's really unfortunate.
We
Not
blame
It's
Corey.
actually not our end; it was out of our control.
Corey.
Huh?
We blame Corey.
Oh yeah. But so anyway, but so those things got resolved. And I apologize for anybody who
But what can we
had
look
those
forward to
issues.
seeing? Like, as far as like the feed changes,
Okay, yeah,
ratings,
sorry.
or
I went off on a
feedback?
tangent. Yeah, so no, we're that's like getting looked at and worked on basically right now. As far as like ETA of arrival to you guys, not sure. The good thing is about service changes is it doesn't depend on like our regular scheduled, title updates and things like that, because it's those are client changes. So like in the actual software that's running on your machine versus like the servers, here that are doing the work, and we can just like update those in the background. Um, so it kind of depends on what solutions that they come up with, to get where we need to go. I mean, the main thing that we're looking at, right? The number one feed improvement that we could do is being able to understand contribution value when looking at the feeds, and like so basically that would be if you're a 0%, contribution value level, you wouldn't show up in the feeds, or a certain percentage, and we
Right.
haven't landed on that. But I mean that's being able to assess contribution value at the time of deciding this level goes into or out of a feed is like number one on improving the feeds.
What about
And
removing downvote trolls? Is that a
yeah,
consideration?
so downvotes. So I've seen now kind of the, like how if this was like an answer from a really long time ago where they like basically said downvotes aren't really going to go anywhere because they're pretty integral to like how our game like sorts and understands UGC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
That basically remains true, unless they wanted to try to do something dramatically different. Honestly, we're looking at other solutions. I agree still, and we still think it'd be a really good idea to do the comment wheel, which is an idea of like if you downvote, you have to at least say why you're
That's a good
downvoting
idea.
it, and it would generate a comment, on that world.
Sure.
Um, and I think that would be super helpful and like give, insight into people's, why people are downvoting.
As long as you
Uh,
have one option that says just trolling, and then you can change that to an upvote if they press
just
that.
trolling. Right, yeah, yeah. If they end up saying that, then it'll turn to an upvote.
Just don't tell them that it changed to an upvote.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, exactly. So there's like obviously there's like things on our end, that we can do about weighting votes and things like that differently that would help dramatically. So those are all things that are getting investigated. But improving the feeds is, I mean, it's me and Brian are super passionate about that because it's about surfacing your guys' awesome stuff and about giving players a great experience to play things. Me and Brian do all the moderating basically and the heavy, and the going through the feeds and discovering your stuff to make sure that they get featured for stuff that needs to get featured. I mean, and we can't, like, it's just me and Brian, and we have so much other stuff we're doing. Like, we can't be in the feeds every day, trying to keep them clean. Like, I mean, when I can, like, first thing I try to do when I get in the morning is go to newest and a bunch of the other feeds and, look at, what's in there and moderating it and making sure it's clean and that we're not because last thing I want is somebody who
Inappropriate
posts,
material.
huh?
Last thing you want is inappropriate material.
Well, yeah, so inappropriate material, but like, yeah, so that's number one. Obviously, we don't want anything like anybody to be exposed to something that they're uncomfortable with. Um, but like, and to be honest, like, I don't want to like all of a sudden inspire people to go crazy, but like. I mean, the community is great. Like there's not very many people griefing like crazy. Knock on wood. Like, like it's very, very rare that we have to like remove something from the feeds because it breaks those rules. More often than not, I'm like having to remove like, somebody will post 10 worlds that are exactly the same, that are 0% remixes like right in a row, and that just pushes 10 actual levels off the feed, and then they disappear and never get seen again. And that's something I don't want that to happen to anybody's levels. So like I'm pretty passionate about going in and trying to clean it up. I
Sure.
mean, you guys should notice. So like anybody who's like eagle-eyed will probably notice like Monday through Friday, newest and other things look pretty good, and then like on the weekend when Brian and I go home, it ends up getting there's also more creations that getting uploaded. Like all of a sudden it doesn't look as like clean or as having as many playable experiences.
Clearly, the solution to this is hiring you for overtime on the weekends.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't be stoked about that. Although the paychecks would be nicer, I guess.
The paychecks, and since you love Project Spark so much, it wouldn't be that bad thing. So speak.
I would be totally. I mean, like, I mean, it says something when I like look at the feeds. It's really awesome when you look at the feeds and you're just like, wow, look at all the crazy stuff that people are making, and it's really cool. And it's just really frustrating when there's like clutter or spam or whatever, that's like in there. Um, so yeah, like, I mean, I want to fix that as much as possible. Like, and we spend, at least probably me and Brian each spend at least a half hour in the feeds every single day. Um, not that's just like moderating and keeping it clean. That's not, us trying to like discover featured levels and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I mean, we spend obviously more time in the feeds, but that's probably just on, moderating or what have you.
So part of your job is receiving and transferring feedback from the community to the team. What
Yep.
kind of community feedback have you gotten as far as the dungeon pack goes?
I mean, generally, so,
Mostly positive, I'm sure, but what would have been like the creative, not creative, constructive criticisms?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like yeah, regardless, like so a lot of people really like the pack, which is fantastic. We thought you'd like guys like it, because it's just a friggin' awesome pack. But there's obviously it's not perfect. So there's definitely comments about like certain things that are missing, which would have been great to have.
Dragons,
Like
skeletons.
well, yeah. So like those are characters, and they're just for like the scope of this modular pack. They're kind of like outside that. But obviously, right? Like, yeah, if I'd love skeletons and dragons and whatever, and elves and dwarfs and
Spiders,
all
etc.
of it. Yeah, demons and what have you, imps and I love that all in a single pack. That'd be pretty awesome. But that's kind of those are all like wish to haves versus like need to haves. Like something that was pretty like a glare. Like going back and looking, like that was pretty. An omission that we didn't think about was just like, where Andrew was the one who pointed this out was like a circular. Basically, we have all these pillars, but they're all squared off. We don't have a single like uh, circular pillar that would have like fit nicely in. You can kind of make it, but then the stones don't line up. But obviously, you want it to be as clean and pretty as possible. So, that was a pretty omission. There's, some wanting for like curved stairs and curved railings, which we didn't get in. Obviously, those would have been pretty cool too. That would have like fit maybe like into the archway, like exactly. So yeah, I mean, those are all legitimate and like other pieces that would have been good to have. I mean, there's also like talk of, like we this was asked about like on the dungeon stream, right? About having like the ruined piece versus like the perfect pieces. So for the most part, the dungeon are all like, their walls that aren't like broken or have like ruins. So it'd have been nice to have like those versions of those as well.
Right.
So those aren't, there. And I know BJ answered that with basically, saying that, one day we'd like to actually have something that makes that easier. And so we wouldn't have to like just have duplicate props, but like actually have some kind of damage system, which I mean when he brought that up on stream, that was the first time I've ever heard of that getting discussed. So I have no idea like,
How far along that is, but yeah.
yeah, how far away on the timeline, but I was really excited when he said that. I was like, that sounds like so cool. Um, but yeah, and
I was excited about the pack because I thought it was the coolest one so far, and then I realized I'm probably never going to use it because all the games I want to make are like 2D, and that's really repetitive from a 2D standpoint. Like there isn't a whole lot of accents or anything like that. It's the brick wall, and that's it. And if you wanted to have a top-down 2D game, the wall's perspective changes and gets all weird. Um, so the solution to this, I guess, would be one, using the getting cards to use as props, so that you could then have them be the walls in like the two-dimensional space that appear to be 3D, but they're actually flat. Or, and this might be a little bit controversial, but using the assembly screenshots and altering them and then uploading them back into the game. But I'm not sure if that would result in my level being moderated or whatever.
yeah. I'm glad you kind of brought that up. So I'm sure some folks like in chat like don't know what you're talking about because you'd have to be pretty eagle-eyed like on our forums
Right. So
to know what
generally the
that is.
idea is you can in your Windows folder, not on Xbox, but on Windows, you can change the JPEG of the screenshot that's made inside of Project Spark with whatever you want that's from outside of Project Spark. So you could do this for good things like making 2D levels or new icons, but you can also do really bad things, and that's pretty obvious what those bad things would be. So that's why I was curious: would this be moderated?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So like I'll be pretty honest like from our perspective like so like if a level is like seen using that, like we're gonna moderate it in the same way that we like look at, our tool set. Like so like obviously like anything that's like offensive and breaks like the E10 rating, like or infringes on like other people's copyright, like anything that even gets close to that, like it's gonna be gone. Because it's just I mean it's too much, it's too close. But obviously like people could do really cool stuff with custom images. And we're not like we don't. I mean, of course, right? We're like about like you guys being able to do really awesome things, and we don't want to be, we never want to be draconian with you guys. Um, so I mean, it's gonna be like a case by case kind of thing. Obviously, like it's not anything that's like actually meant to be in game, and you're technically like going into the files, and it's kind of a workaround. Like if
It's
you're
an
on
exploit.
Xbox, yeah, and it's definitely an exploit. Like on Xbox, you can't even do it because you can't even access those files. Um, so um, I mean that's basically the way that we're looking at it is it exists. Um,
It's still going to be rather
I'm
hard for people to
acknowledging it
use.
here on stream. That it exists. And I'm explaining that like our moderation of that is going to be in line with what we do. But know that we are not gonna, we won't immediately take those worlds down. We will use discretion based on the content that is there. Um,
So it's still hard to use these things, though. It's still not all that easy to make a game out of 2D.
it's
So
not, yeah. So I mean, it's pretty. I've seen some examples, and like this exploit has been known for a really long time internally, and I've seen people do really funny things with it actually. You know, and do some like interesting, cool stuff. But like, yeah, there is limitations. Like, if you wanted to try to do like a 2D game and like have like sprites and stuff, like you'd have to basically do a frame by frame animation by changing the actual image out. I mean, it's complicated. It's not like an easy, it's kind of a mammoth task if you want to like try to use this to create something that's like totally unique and not, looking not from not Spark, which basically, right, you can use any artwork you want by doing this. Um, but
will there be any facilitation for like icons in general in Spark in the near future?
I mean, like as far as
Like
this,
functionality, so you could
yeah,
like
I
make a
mean,
game out of them.
I mean, you guys know, like, we've talked about like 2D and like icons and all that, and like the things that we want to do there with like rotation and what have you. Rotation's always like a huge one. I mean, these are all things that are on like our wish list, right? Of like, and again, we know that it's on your wish list, and we're telling me and Brian, Team Dakota, like this is what the community wants, and trust me, like all those things are like on there. Um, I will say that like with this particular like exploit, you can definitely bet there won't be like a single thing that we do that like facilitates it unless we ended up doing like an official image importer into the game, which like went through and was like available probably hopefully for right both Xbox and Windows. But I mean so chat brought up a really good point about like saying sure, but Kinect recording isn't like on Xbox, or is
It's on
only on
PC.
Xbox and not on Windows. So like sure, and obviously you have multiplayer on Xbox and not on Windows. And I know like we want our platforms to be as equal as possible. So totally understand that. Totally fair point to point out. Um, but yeah, so like nothing like is going to facilitate. We're not going to make it like
Right.
easier
I
to
don't think
do
that
any of
makes
the
a whole lot
exploit.
of sense for you guys to facilitate the exploit, but I mean,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
future
but
you
we're
could
not, and
possibly.
I'm not gonna like go on the forums and like tell you what to do or anything like that.
But it
Um,
still would be nice to have like a UI, not just an editor, but like a creation engine focused on UI, so we can
yeah,
actually
no,
make use of this.
yep. I exactly making just stuff easier in general for UI and 2D. Like, of course, that
We
would.
don't have a whole lot on the roadmap. When are we going to start hearing more details about like what features are coming sooner rather than later?
Well, the answer to that is sooner rather than later. So I'm hoping we can start talking about stuff really soon. I know we're not um, giving you guys like super long sight lines into the future, but
It's
do
like
know
two
that we
weeks.
are, huh?
Every 2 weeks we find the next pack, and they're like, "Well, we have that. We'll chase that carrot until we get it." And then we're like, "What's the next carrot? Wait 2 weeks, and we'll see next carrot for 2 weeks."
Yeah, I know, and it's tough. Like, I know that's not great. Like, it's I can't remember if this was a conversation we had on a Sparkcast already or
I
not.
can't either, so we just go with it again.
Yeah, so I apologize. But it's just like the idea, right? Like,
So, do we have an
we
ETA on when we'll get an ETA on stuff?
so this is me. This is me going with it. This is with me saying without like approval or anything. Like I'm gonna say that like I'm hoping to get like announcements like kind of probably like early August is probably a time to think about like kind of I'm hoping we're ready to talk about some bigger things.
But you
Um,
guys do have bigger things planned. It's not like you guys are just talking
Yeah,
about
please
them.
know that guy. Like I know we have content like already for sure planned and like getting worked on and like through like, basically like early next year. Like there's no like intimate like all of a sudden like you won't, be getting more Project Spark stuff. Like there's definitely that like roadmap through there and not just for like, DLC or whatever too, but like features too are, obviously getting worked on. Um but yeah, What? I don't oh, I'm confused on why they say they're getting a fatter brute now for bigger things. I got you. Is it worth the upgrade to Windows 10? Is the question. I mean, I don't know, like in regards to Spark, like, so I already explained, like, Spark's pretty much going to stay the same for you. Windows 10 as an operating software, I think it looks really cool. I haven't used the preview, but I've like watched videos and other people kind of talk about it. And it seems it's pretty overwhelmingly positive. Like it fixes a lot of the things that people didn't like about Windows 8, keeps a lot of things about when, that were good about Windows 8 and kind of molds them together in this like it's pretty exciting. I think it's gonna be really cool. Um,
Personally, from my experience, unless you are really capable at troubleshooting issues, going on forums and finding out why things are wrong, wait a couple of months. Let other people have those problems until their solutions are posted, and
yeah, so
then
I
you
mean, you have a
upgrade.
year. You have a year to update Windows 10 to Windows 10. There's no one pushing you to say you need to do it immediately. Like so they've already announced like the launch date, July 29th. Whether you want to do it immediately is kind of up to you. I know like the builds that are coming out, which are more and more frequent, are like, better and better and more solid. But it can be entirely up to you on how you feel about that and how comfortable you are, if you do run into anything technical. I'm planning on upgrading day one, but that's mainly I feel like I'd be pretty comfortable, like and okay with like if an occasional thing happened. Obviously, if I was running into things that prevented me from being productive all the time, I would get frustrated like any normal person would, but
All right,
yeah.
so the final question for the evening is kind of related to the previous question, not about Windows 10, but um,
I do want to say this real quick because I've seen it
sure.
like twice. We are definitely going to resolve Swarmhammer, the issue with Conquer. We know about it and it's being worked on. Um,
I
so
bet they
yeah,
said that during the CAG call, and you were there.
yeah.
You don't have an excuse for not knowing that.
So yeah, so Swarmhammer, we definitely know that like Conquer doesn't show up on Windows 10, but we're on top of that for sure.
So the final question is, have you guys looked into like the specs of like how a UI editor or an animation editor or a music editor would work? Have you guys started to delve into those designs yet?
Yeah, I mean, all of those types of things. Like, I mean, even before, right, the community was asking for them. Like, these are all things that like, were thought of internally too, right? And like, were thought about like, should they be in Spark and like, how much should they be in Spark and all these types of things, and like, what's the priority of hitting all of them? I mean, right? We've never made it a secret. It's like a super ambitious project with like a super ambitious team. Who wants to do so much things, right? Like BJ and the destructible prop like thing is a perfect example of like how crazy are like in ideas like I don't even think I've ever seen anybody from the community like ask for that, but now that it's been said I think everybody wants that. But I mean there's design, so we internally what we anything that's like in the planning phase and is getting worked on or whatever and thought about, it has a like or so I shouldn't say that it getting worked on is like not the right way. It's getting thought about and investigated. That's different from like actively being worked on and developed. Um, so like I can guarantee you we have design docs. It's like planning phased, and at least written down of what it would look like in Spark, like for an animation editor, for a UI editor, for all these different types of things. Um, it's like I guarantee all of these things have been thought about, like for sure, without a doubt. And we're talking, I think really between all of those, like, um, probably the one that the community's spoken the loudest on, and is definitely the one that me and Brian have spoken the loudest on internally to the team is about 2D UI editor. Obviously, an animation thing would be really cool, where you could like blend stuff and make your own animations, and don't have to necessarily rely on Connect to do things. Um, so all of those things are have been like thought about, I guess is the way to say it. I don't know if I answered your question.
Close enough, as much as I thought you ever would. So, uh, I don't want to talk about bugs, but Crossroads experience bug is getting worked on, I presume,
Which one in particular?
when we're not getting
The
experience.
coins. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the XP, there's a couple bugs in Crossroads right now.
But you're working on them. We can just slice it to that.
Yeah, we're working on them. There's ones with coins and with XP. The coins also affect like challenges and achievements too that are tied to the coin pickups. So yeah, we're definitely aware of those. Just to answer Smorefish's question about winners for Game Jam or Creation Jams, excuse me. They have not been announced yet. They have not been decided yet. I'll be able to say though that it's been narrowed down to a top 50, and Team Dakota is starting to narrow that down. Um, so no like announcements yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
I believe the
Creation.
thing says the 30th is the deadline for announcing the 50th. The 50th?
Yeah. So yeah, within like the week.
Right.
So we're going through it, but yeah, we're definitely we're down to the top 50. It is you guys made so much cool stuff. I love it. It was pretty awesome. A lot of cool stuff came in later. Yeah, I am just really stoked. Creation Jam has been I would definitely say it's been a huge success. I know some people it's like different for them because it's not like the fuller experiences that we saw, right, with like the community game jam, and these are like smaller, more like these like little digestible experiences. They don't have to be a game. They could be a character model, movie, whatever. I mean, it can be anything, and that it makes it really fun to judge and make it really hard to judge when you're trying to compare like apples to oranges, kind of. um but I don't know, it's been really fun. I really like it. It's Creation Jam is really cool. You guys more than delivered. I'm super stoked.
Will we be seeing any more game jams or just creation jams going forward?
Oh, I mean nothing. I mean, you'll probably see both. Like I don't think we're not gonna like say no more game jams. Like we still really like to see those bigger experiences that are like focused on like games, right? Which, games are kind of this encompassing, like they have a bunch, they have cinematics, they have art, they have, characters and gameplay and all this stuff, right? And then creation jams are kind of more things that are singled out and like their own things. I mean, they both serve unique purposes, and we want to foster both of those types of creations. I think it's really like I think a lot of people can be kind of relieved, right, with a creation jam, because I don't think a lot of people necessarily want to spend like 60 hours or whatever, building like some crazy adventure. Some
Well,
people want to do that, but other people just want to be able to like jump on and like make a level within a night, and put something and upload something really cool. And I think Creation Jam has really shown that that's like totally possible.
well, we're actually going to be cutting it at the 9 o'clock hour tonight because Thomas has a meeting immediately following this.
I do. Man, you're keeping me on time. Like I'd probably accidentally just keep talking, so I appreciate
Sure.
it.
So just a quick reminder, no stream tomorrow, but there will be a stream on Friday, I presume.
Yeah, definitely stream on Friday.
That's at noon
Um,
Pacific
huh?
or 11 a.m. Pacific on
Yep,
Friday.
yep.
And
So
then
that'll be Project Spark playing your creations. Yep, no stream tomorrow. Um,
what's the topic for Tuesday? Do you know?
I don't actually. I'm trying to remember
Okay.
if we had one picked or not. I did this. We're kind of gonna start kind of alternating. So I think Brian is kind of thinking through he's doing next week for education. Um, yeah, hopefully you guys all like the car physics one. Um, Sorry, I didn't understand everything that was going on. I think I understood most of it, but there's a couple of things that that got explained to me later, which I didn't know of until after the stream.
What
So
you
I
should do is get
apologize.
Charlotte on the stream with you.
Yeah, I know. We got a plan. We really do want like the education streams to also be like pretty. It was really fun to like have the car that was made by Russ Plague, and then like basically highlighting the code that Charlotte made. Like I think that's kind of a cool way to do education streams. Especially, I mean, you guys are fantastic. You guys make cooler stuff than Brian or I make.
Ain't that
Um,
the truth?
yeah, it's definitely the truth. So like highlighting that and just celebrating you guys more is much better. Is way better than anything we would be able to do, and probably more informative and helpful to anybody else who wants to learn. So yeah, we're thinking about ways to like keep doing those kinds of things. We even right like bringing people on stream. That's like also something we're tossing around. Like so yeah, we're just kind of in this process of like thinking about things and changing up. Like you already see how we're like the Friday streams now. We're trying to get guests for them to change it up and make them more exciting, and we're already doing this brand new like stuff that we're for Thursday streams. So we're kind of changing up stuff a little bit.
Yeah, should be interesting to look forward to.
Yeah.
Do we have a release date for the real quick before you leave? Do we have a release date for the Void Corruptor?
Yeah, you definitely do. So it's been announced that Void Corruptor is coming July 9th.
Okay. Well, that answers that question. It was probably already known. I just ignored it. Anyway,
Yeah, no, it's somewhere on the forums. But yeah, it's I know it's not like super out there and obvious yet, but yep, July 9th is the date.
and is there gonna be a guest on the stream this Friday?
We had one lined up, but they had to adjust in their schedule, so we have them for a later date. So we're looking at getting a guest for this Friday right now. So I think we have a couple options. I think we should be good. Potentially not, but we should. I think we'll have one. We'll see.
All right, sounds good. So thanks community for joining us and asking your questions, and thank Thomas for joining us and answering them.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
we'll see you guys on Friday and then next week.
Sounds good. I'll catch you guys later.
Night, night guys.
Bye.